Within the past week, the Ministry of Finance has released two major financial reports on the state of the country's finances in the midst of the twin catastrophes of the COVID-19 pandemic and 2019's Hurricane Dorian. Well, the Economic Affairs Minister today outlined exactly how this data configures into the government's plan to revive the economy. Keishla Adderley reports.
The government is managing the delicate balancing act of increasing revenue and decreasing debt, all while monitoring the uncertainty of the times. With recent indicators providing hope for better times ahead, Minister of Economic Affairs, Senator the Honorable Michael Halkitis, gave this analysis from the 6-month report on fiscal performance released today.
Revenues have outpaced projections by approximately $162 million. The rebounding of our economy is largely supported by improvements in stopover arrivals and hotel occupancy rates. Revenue collections totaled $1.137 billion, an increase of $465 million over the same period in the year prior. Aggregate expenditure declined by $1.2 million as the government continued to contain expenditure. And the midterm deficit, the deficit at the half year, is estimated to be at $269 million, a $467 million decrease from the deficit of $736 million in the same period last year.
As for debt, which has taken debt to GDP ratios far past the ideal 45 to 50% to just under 100%, Minister Halkitis says it's coming down.
The central government's debt stock is now at $10.317 billion at the end of December 2021, representing an estimated 96.4% of GDP. So we see the percentage having declined slightly since June of 2021. And this reflects both an improvement in GDP and in economic conditions. It also reflects a reduction in the rate of borrowing during the first 6 months of the year as compared to the prior year.
And Minister Halkitis says expect that debt to fall even further as the government tightens its belt and continues to execute its borrowing plan agreed during the last budget.
What will happen is when we get to the annual budget, most likely we'll propose another borrowing plan, and we expect that we'll be borrowing less money. And hopefully, and our view is that'll start a trend as the economy improves. Our need to borrow becomes less and less. But yeah, we'll continue with the borrowing plan to finance this year's budget.
Though applauding the government's publication of its fiscal goals, international ratings agency Moody's has called the government's forecasts, including a $200 million yield from revenue enhancement measures over the next 2 years, overly optimistic. Minister Halkitis maintains, though, that he's already seen goals surpassed.
Their view is it's optimistic. Our view is, yes, it's optimistic, but we see all reports are the economy is bouncing back in terms of tourism. The economy is open, employment levels are increasing, and we're pursuing efforts to do a better job of collecting revenue. So we believe we'll make it.
Keishla Adderley, ZNS Network News.